So thank you all for the opportunity to share with you my thoughts about the state of our county and to answer questions after my remarks. Today I am pleased to be joined by my colleagues. I think I saw Eric Gutschall in attendance. Eric? Matt DeFerranti. Did I see Matt? And I do believe Libby Garvey is going to join us this morning. If she hasn't already, there's Libby. Thank you all very much. And of course, our county manager, Mark Schwartz. Very much appreciate your all being here this morning, even though we're going to be spending much of this afternoon and tonight together as well. I apologize in advance. You will be sick of hearing my voice. But I know I speak for all of us when I thank the Chamber and I thank you all as stakeholders in the Arlington community for your effective support of business in Arlington and for your commitment to this county and your unabashed optimism about our future. And we may not always see eye to eye, but this board appreciates the Chamber's work and your input. And we value the partnership on specific issues, from the transient occupancy tax to dedicated funding for Metro to helping us put our best foot forward in the competition for Amazon's HQ2. The Chamber and the Arlington business community have been important, effective partners for issues in this community. And we know that we share the same fundamental goal of an Arlington County that is prosperous, inclusive, and committed to being better tomorrow than it was yesterday. In this event, I guess I am the 10th county board chair to participate in this event, is always a highlight on our calendar. I say that both because it is inspirational to see that our outstanding public safety officers are going to be honored, and because you offer the chair an opportunity to do something that we don't get a chance to do often enough, and that is to step back from the day-to-day issues, some of which are mundane, that fill up our monthly and daily agendas, to survey the horizon and reflect. And so today, I want to talk about not only what I think is working in Arlington, but also about my belief that our community functions most effectively when all sectors of civil society, businesses, residents, institutions, and civic organizations form true partnerships and collaborate. When they consider the consequences of their actions for all of us. And I want to talk about how I think our business community can help strengthen these partnerships and collaborations. And so that I won't be accused of ignoring the notional question posed by our gathering today, and hopefully this will not be a surprise to anyone, I believe that the state of our county is excellent and quite strong. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Despite headwinds that might have derailed this and perhaps would have derailed most other communities, whether we're talking about BRAC, the loss of key federal agencies that have moved out of Arlington, sequestration, federal government shutdowns, and the long and painful Great Recession, along with increased regional competition for businesses to fill office space, despite all of that, Arlington has proved resilient and resourceful. We have remained a welcoming community that values diversity and inclusion and provides a strong social safety net for the most vulnerable among us. We have maintained our coveted AAA bond rating status through several very tough and lean budget years, ensuring continued low interest rates for our bond sales, which provides key value for Arlington taxpayers for our investments. In issuing its recent reaffirmation of our AAA bond rating, Fitch noted that Arlington's exceptionally strong operating performance and praised, quote, our solid maintenance of reserves and liquidity, further went on to note that we have a dynamic economic base and a strong revenue framework. And listen to this, everybody, quote, conservative budgeting and close monitoring of expenditures. Now, yes, an impressive endorsement, but Arlington's success goes far beyond our financial performance. Since 2008, we have reduced the number of homeless persons counted on our streets from 527 back in 2008 to 232 in the most recent point in time count, a 56% decrease. We achieved functional zero for homelessness among military veterans in 2016, and we are close to attaining it for chronically homeless persons. We continue to work toward the goal of eliminating homelessness in our county. County government services continue to earn consistently high marks from residents. In our 2018 statistically valid community satisfaction survey, 88% of residents say that they are satisfied overall with county services. 86% are satisfied with our quality of life. 85% are satisfied with the quality of police services. And 93% are satisfied with the quality of fire, emergency, medical, and ambulance services. 91% report an overall feeling of safety in our county, and 94% say that they feel safe in our neighborhoods, an extraordinary statistic. And that sense of safety is testimony to our strong civic culture and our police department that focuses not just on enforcement, but also on prevention, education, and building ties with the Arlington community. The downward trend in Group A offenses, which are crimes against persons, that began several years ago continued this past year with a 9.5% decrease in such crimes from 2017. Now, this reflects a national trend, but the police department's many educational initiatives have made a real difference in other areas. I will call out just one of those key initiatives today: transportation safety. As our roads hold more travelers than ever, who are using more modes of transportation than ever, the Arlington Police Department has intensified its efforts to ensure that everyone using those roads stays safe. They have a transportation safety initiative, which combines education and enforcement, including an increased focus on DUI diversion, and it's getting real results. We saw a 27.5% decrease in bicycle-involved crashes, 7.5% decrease in pedestrian-involved crashes. And there were fewer alcohol-involved collisions. And in 2019, as a result of these efforts, the county was awarded the Governor's Transportation Safety Award in the category of pedestrian and bicycle safety for the collaborative effort among our county departments and agencies to use a multifaceted approach to reducing pedestrian and bicycle-related crashes in Arlington. I also want to give a shout out to our fire department. Arlington's average number of fires annually between 2014 and 2017 was slightly above the national average for communities of our size. However, fire deaths in Arlington at 1 per year are about half the national average. Our fire department achieved Mission Lifeline Gold status this year, meaning we provide exemplary cardiac care as defined by the AMA for 90% of cardiac calls in the last 2 years. Now, hardest part about preparing for this talk is that I could go on. There are many more data indicators that exist that I could have mentioned, but I only have 20 minutes, so I've got to move on. And this exemplary performance data and outside validation are common not just in public safety agencies, but across the county's many lines of business. Now, this doesn't happen by chance or by accident. Providing high-quality services, a strong safety net, and outstanding public safety takes resources. And to do so at the lowest possible tax rate, which is my governing philosophy, requires that we broaden our economic base. And as you all know, we have been working for several years to reduce what for us is a historically high office vacancy rate and to diversify our economy. And we've had some important successes. In fiscal year 2019, which we conclude at the end of this month, we closed or announced 24 company deals, representing more than 7 million square feet of office space and nearly 43,000 new or retained jobs. Only 2 of those deals involved incentives from Arlington County. We have focused on attracting and retaining tech-related companies in key sectors such as cybersecurity, as well as professional services and media. We have attracted large companies like Nestle and Gerber, as well as large nationally known nonprofits like the March of Dimes. But we are also stepping up our support for our community's small businesses. We have added a small business support manager to our Biz Launch program who will identify new and existing partnerships to help in key areas like entrepreneurial development for local businesses and increase our capacity to provide customized assistance to our small business clients. And later this summer, we will launch Permit Arlington, which I know will be a welcome relief to many of our community's businesses. Our initiative to improve the land development, building, and permitting processes by creating a new online permitting system and centralized space for in-person customer visits. Permit Arlington will take the customer experience for both business and residents to the next level, making it efficient and user-friendly with better physical and more intuitive virtual spaces. The first phase will include almost half of all county-wide permits, including right-of-way use permits and site plan applications, as well as civil engineering plans and more. We will begin testing the system in July, and you can sign up to be a volunteer tester on the Arlington County website by putting Permit Arlington in the keywords search. Now, admittedly, it's taken longer to get to this point, largely because each of the 33 permit and application types in phase one of this project has its own special unique processes and workflow, and all of which are customizations which we've had to build into this new online system. It has required not only a complex technological solution, but intensive staff work to document and translate our business practices for each permit into software. We don't have an off-the-rack solution for this. We had to build it from scratch, and the time for completion of phase one is coming. We are also streamlining information on our public website to make it more easily and readily accessible, weeding out and refreshing the Building Arlington website to update materials and to present information more clearly, keep feedback from stakeholders. Now, we know that we have more to do to make our county government as efficient and user-friendly as possible for everyone, businesses and residents. But we are committed to the ongoing process of upgrading our customer service and business practices and imbuing county government with the virtues of resilience, innovation, and adaptability that typifies our emerging tech-anchored commercial ecosystem. And in addition to the deals struck and the process improvements that we are making, as you all may have heard by now, in March, we closed the largest economic deal in the county's history, an incentive for performance package with Amazon for HQ2. Wow. 2 months ago, that would have gotten a lot more applause at an event like this. But you all are, that's old news. You're on to the next thing, right? Well, some were surprised that Arlington was chosen from among the hundreds of communities that competed for HQ2. I was not. The day the company released its RFP, that was back in 2017, as I read through their requirements, great access to rail, a connection to airports, capacity to absorb significant development now and in the future, it seemed patently obvious that what they were talking about was Crystal City and the, say it with me, folks, Richmond Highway Corridor. I emailed Victor Hoskins, Director of Economic Development, and just had, as I recall, just a few words. You're on this, right? And Victor, of course, emailed back, like, what took you so long? Of course. And the board's unanimous vote to approve the package was the culmination of many months of intense effort by county staff who were competing against 240 other bids that covered hundreds of locations, and we had months of engagement with our community. Amazon's presence in Arlington will be transformational. The company will invest $2.5 billion at least over the next 12 years, and it will add at least 25,000 jobs in a gradual ramp up that will, in the end, occupy at least 4 million square feet of energy efficient office space. HQ2, all right, Beth, go ahead. You can lead it, it's fine. The deal brings with it significant investments by the state in higher education and transportation, with at least $195 million and up to $295 million coming in state funding as a pledge for transportation projects in the area. And as Amazon ramps up its presence here, the revenues that will result will ease some of the intense budget pressures that we have experienced over the last few years, and provides resources that will help us move beyond squabbles over how to divide a shrinking pie into creating new opportunities to address our real challenges that we have not had the resources to fully tackle, such as housing and an initiative that I've talked about a lot this year, equity. Now, I believe these new resources will also help us address some of the concerns that people have about Amazon itself and the impact that it may have on our transportation network, housing costs, schools, parks and open space, and perhaps most of all, our ability to remain a diverse and inclusive community. Now, my colleagues and I think often about the hard work that is ahead by this and future boards, by the business community as well as the residents, but also by Amazon. I think Amazon realizes that its success in Arlington will be defined not only by what this investment contributes to its bottom line, but by how the company continues and contributes to the community and to this region. We expect Amazon to be a good corporate citizen, supportive of our community's commitment to equity, inclusiveness, transparency, environmental stewardship, and fair labor practices. The company began taking some initial, very encouraging steps earlier this month, in fact, just last week, when it announced that it will donate $3 million to the Arlington Community Foundation to support affordable housing and combat homelessness in our county. They're going to double that up with a corporate match for any employee contributions to a number of Northern Virginia nonprofits that work in providing housing for the most vulnerable. The company will offer this as an initial step, not the end, but the beginning of its engagement with our community. We welcome their lead, and we hope others will follow. And we will continue to make the case to Amazon and to all businesses in Arlington that if we are to remain a community for people at all income levels, all of our businesses need to pay their employees sufficient wages, part of a constellation of policies that will address equity in our community. Many of you, particularly if you follow the business cycle, know that we are nearing being in the longest economic expansion in this country's history. But as long as that economic expansion has gone on, we have another ignominious statistic. The minimum wage, the federal minimum wage, has been set at $7.25 an hour. We can and we should do better. And that is because a community can stay healthy and successful only when all of its members are treated fairly, have a place at the table, and when their socioeconomic status is not predictive of their outcomes, and quite frankly, they all have a chance to thrive. So striving for equity is entirely keeping within Arlington's community vision. We are an aspirational community at heart. We set high goals for ourselves. We don't want to just reduce homelessness, we want to end it. We don't just want to provide transportation options, we want to provide many layers of transportation options. And I know that we can bring the same ethos to the complex problems of equity in housing, education, the use of public spaces, and access to healthcare and childcare that we bring to so many issues that make this a truly great place to live. Now, this will include reconsidering our land use policies and our zoning policies, working with our public school system to consider new approaches to diversifying our classrooms, among other challenges and changes. And I challenge all of you here today to bring your best thoughts, your creative ideas, your innovations, and entrepreneurial spirit to help us come up with new approaches to land use that will create more housing that provide affordable choices for those who want to make Arlington their home. I ask you to participate because I believe, and if I should be so bold as to say, that this should be a priority of yours that engenders your earnest engagement. At the core, most businesses desire access to the largest pool of talent possible. If we can house people affordably and reduce their economic insecurity, we reduce the opportunity costs that come with unfilled positions. We increase your ability to retain valued personnel. And if workers can reduce time commuting, they can then spend that time being fulfilled in ways that provide benefit to employers. Now that said, government can and must lead this effort. I will cite two recent examples of how we are acting to increase equity and address the primary needs of Arlington families and to expand the talent that may be available to our business community, our child care initiative, and Housing Arlington. As board chair, Katie Crystal championed the child care initiative, which resulted in a rewriting of regulations to make our high quality, more affordable child care available across Arlington. And earlier this year, we launched Housing Arlington, an umbrella initiative encompassing many disciplines and departments to create more affordable housing that also includes subsidized housing, housing that is more affordable by design, and looking at our land use tools in order to unlock what have been some key suppressors of our housing supply. You're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the coming months. And we're also addressing significant disparities in the delivery of health care in our county, where Black residents experience an 8-fold higher rate of asthma hospitalization compared to white residents, and where life expectancy varies by up to 10 years depending on what zip code you live in. A steering committee convened by Ruben Varghese, the county's health director in 2018, has recommended ways to prevent further disparities and to achieve one of those big, ambitious goals, health equity by 2027. It focuses on bringing together government, the nonprofit, the for-profit sectors, all to assess policies, programs, and practices by asking a few central questions. Who benefits? Who is burdened? Who is missing? And how do we know? Thank you, Scott. I hope you've not factored in the applause for my time. I can go. Now, there is much more to be done in this and the years ahead. Amazon's arrival here embodies and intensifies the challenges that we were already facing as a community. Challenges that come down to the impact of continued growth and continued change. The difference now is that we will have far more resources and much more stability in our future budgeting to help us meet those challenges. So in conclusion, I gotta say, this is an exciting time for Arlington County. Government needs you, our business community, to help ensure that the opportunities that we now have yield benefits for all of us. We need you to join a conversation with us about wages and salaries with the goal of helping the Arlington community be stronger and more successful. We need for all businesses in Arlington, large, medium, and small, to help us make Arlington a place that works for everyone who lives and works here. I know that you will continue to play a positive role and continue to build partnerships with county government and this entire community. I thank you all very much for inviting me to participate in today's gathering, and I look forward to Scott's questions.
Do you? All right, there we go.